What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 128, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and today I am joined by the Academy man himself, Mr. Physical Copy. Ethan, how you doing? We're having a little special Sunday episode.
You make me sound like I'm like an actor and I'm going to the Academy Awards. It's great, but no, it's much less thrilling than that, or more, depending on what you think of. But I'm sure I'll talk about it on I Hate My Friends one of these days. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be here this weekend with you, talking about video games, because I'm not getting enough video games in my life right now, Kevin. We were talking before the show. I have serious FOMO, especially with Resident Evil 4. I basically can't play video games right now Monday through Friday, only on the weekends. And on the weekends, I'm trying to spend as much time with my family. So video games are not priority for me. I might get in a couple hours of No Man's Sky or Call of Duty here and there, but the next 4 weeks, it's a wash for me, and I'm really sad about it. But I'm here to talk about video games with you, Kevin. So I'm excited about that.
Well, listen, when you're done, you're going to have a great backlog to come back to, all right?
I don't need anything else in my backlog, Kevin. My backlog's already miles long. It's never going to get finished. All I'm doing is shooting myself in the foot right now. I need to take a vacation or something.
Ooh, I just scheduled my vacation actually, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And
Nice.
You know what's funny is I was like, so you gotta plan like what week in the summer will have the least amount of game releases,
so you can do the backlog exactly.
So I don't have to worry about it. And it turns out end of July so far.
You know what? We need to start that trend for us. Is we all need to take a week off a year to get our backlog through. Like, comment below, has anybody ever taken days off to work on their backlog? I need to know.
Backlog, no. New releases, yes.
Okay, yeah, definitely new releases. I pretended I quit football once for the Halo Reach Reach launch. I didn't show up to practice. I'm like, yeah, I quit. And then he's like, no, you didn't. You just wanted to get Halo Reach at GameStop. I'm like, yeah.
Worth it.
It was great. It was great.
Anyone listening, remember, this is Project X Talk at Xbox Podcast. We're usually live every Thursday night, and we will be this Thursday as well, the 31st, or is it 30th? 30th.
I don't even know what day it is, Kevin.
We'll be live on the 30th this week, but this is a special Sunday episode because I had some personal stuff to take care last Thursday, and Ethan was away. But I think this Thursday I'll be joined by Jam Pack Sam from the Exhibition channel over there. So go check him out. I know he just recently ended his podcast, but he's doing some great content still. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We post usually Friday morning on all your audio services. This one will go up right after we're done recording here, just to make up for it. Make sure while you're over there, drop us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, whatever platform you prefer. A lot of people listening through Radio Line. I don't know what the hell Radio Line is, but like 52% of our audience on audio is listening through Radio Line. And
there's some weird frequency that picks us up in Russia, and it's just a remote village listening to Project X Talk every week, Kevin. Who knows?
Shout out to the France listeners. Okay. I saw somebody in France. All right. But if you want to support us to get early access to all Save the Game Media content, like No Limits, Frame by Frame, I Hate My Friends, and exclusive post shows, head over to patreon.com/Save the Game Media. Choose the tier that's right for you, like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. But Ethan, now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's start each and every week by going around the room and asking one question. That question is, what have you been playing?
Nothing. Advanced communication techniques. That's what I've been playing, Kevin. It's not fun. Yeah, it's not fun. I'm learning a lot, but I'm not playing any video games, which could be a good thing. Maybe I needed a break. Maybe it was becoming a problem. Who knows? No, you're right. It's never a problem. Play too much.
Never a problem.
I guess jumped on a No Man's Sky a little bit, discovered some planets, found an alien that looked like a butt on legs. It was pretty funny. That's really it, honestly. So I'm going to have to defer to you on this.
Listen, I bet people tuned in today. They're like, oh, Resident Evil 4's out. They're going to be talking about this banger of a game. Nah.
Go watch No Limits. They'll talk about it. I'm sure they will talk about
it. I know, Kyle. I know people. We got people in Save the Game Media playing it.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you, my Xbox hasn't been turned on in probably a week,
Oh no.
maybe more, and that's because I'm about to preach the gospel of Neon Falcon and Trails of Cold Steel.
Just lost me. I don't know what's going on here.
Bro, you know I played Trails to Azure, as I've been.
Correct. Yep.
Um, I'm in, man. I'm deep diving
Oh
in.
no.
I finished the Ease series. I finished all those games, and then I was like, "What games do I have to play in order to understand Trails into Reverie when it comes out in July?" And everyone was like, "You need the Crossbell arcs, which are the two I played, and then you need the Cold Steel games, all four of them, and you." Could need the Sky games, but those ones are less important to this overall, but you should play them anyway. And I was like, all right, I'm in. I bought all four at once for full price.
Is this the new trend with you? You find a JRPG that you like, and then you're like hyper fixating on it, and you're gonna beat the entire series.
This year, see, I was talking about it with Luke last week, where I was like, you ever just find a series and you just deep dive? Because I played a bunch of Ease games already this year,
Oh yeah.
and now Trails. I am into it, so I bought all four Trails of Cold Steel games. I'm about to wrap up Trails of Cold Steel 1, probably maybe today, probably tomorrow, and then I'm just going right for it, bro. I have a calendar, and it was like
Of course you do.
have this chapter beat by this date so I can fit all four of these games before Trails into Reverie comes out. All right.
Dude.
And then I'm looking and I'm like, okay, April's pretty empty, but then we got Redfall coming out, we got
Oh yeah.
Atlas Fallen, and then Jude is Diablo 4 Final
Wow.
Fan. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but listen, my goal was to have Cold Steel 1 done like a week and a half after today. I'm way ahead of schedule. All right. I'm
Okay, that's good.
flying. So I'm loving this series. It's great. It's the story is it's basically like the MCU, but for JRPGs. Okay. Because every story takes place in a different little area and then they all like come together. You'll have crossover characters like
You see,
showing up randomly.
it's gonna get confusing for me. I'm just gonna,
Oh
lose my
yeah.
train of thought halfway through.
Yeah, I'm loving this series. I cannot wait to play them more. And it's like, will I burn out playing four like intense JRPGs in
I'm
a row?
surprised you
But
haven't
no, I'm
burned out
going.
playing JRPGs period yet this year, Kevin.
It's year RPGs. That's all I'm saying.
I guess.
It's what I'm doing. I know I beat 91 games last year. I'm working on number 19 for this year, but that's just because JRPGs are slowing me down,
Yeah.
man. Why they gotta be so long?
I gotta ask, because you started with East, right? You
Mhm.
crushed like 40 games of the East series. You're playing now Trails. What's the next one on the docket? What do you think is the next JRPG series you're gonna dive into? I'm assuming you've played all of the Tales series, correct?
No, I haven't.
You have not.
No, and the problem with that, I've played a lot of the Tales games. The problem is a lot of them are locked to older PlayStation consoles, which I didn't
Okay.
have. And we were talking before. This is why backstage before we went live, I was talking about being in the game store yesterday and seeing
Yeah.
these retro games and how Tales of Hearts R is going for $230
See.
for the PlayStation Vita, and I'm like, even if I wanted to dive into the older Tales games, which I do, they're not accessible and they're crazy expensive. They're locked to all these older consoles. So like we need some ports, we need some
Yeah.
remasters.
Come on, PlayStation.
I don't know what the next series I dive into is though. I was thinking maybe Star Ocean, but I'm not sure.
That
I'm
would
not
be a
sure.
big one.
I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. Listen, Trails will keep me busy because then
Oh yeah, I'm
after I
sure.
finish these four and then Reverie, I got the Sky trilogy on Steam ready to go. And then
Oh.
Kuro no Kaseki is coming at some point, which is the next two after that. And then we're all caught up.
What about Shin Megami Tensei? How much are you in on that?
We're going to talk about that later
Yes,
in the
we are.
episode.
I just wanted to see.
But yeah, loving the Trails games. That's really I'll report
Awesome.
back, I guess, but they're not on Xbox, so I don't really have much to say for this
Yeah.
audience. Unfortunately, they're on Steam and PlayStation. Great games, but
Yeah.
that's gonna be my life for the next few weeks until we get some
It's
get
good
some
stuff.
games. Okay, but let's jump into some news. What do you think about that?
Let's do it.
All right, story number one. We have the Microsoft response to the CMA. Microsoft has released a 27-page supplemental response to the notice of possible remedies for the CMA. While a lot of the response is redacted and retreads old ground that we've already covered, it does have some new information. I went through digging, and in section 2.12, there might be a glimpse into the future of Call of Duty, stating, quote, at the remedies hearing, the CMA asked Microsoft if the 10-year duration is sufficient and whether there would be a cliff edge for Sony at the end of this period. The 10-year period is redacted. Microsoft considers that a period of 10 years is sufficient for Sony as a leading publisher and console platform to develop alternatives to Call of Duty. The 10-year term will extend to the next generation of consoles. Moreover, the practical effect of this remedy will go beyond the 10-year period, since game downloads in the final year of the remedy can continue to be played for the lifetime of that console and beyond with backwards compatibility. So we have another statement after that, but I want to get your initial reactions, because to me, this sounds a lot like, hey, you got 10 years to make a competitor and then Call of Duty's gone.
Yeah, that's honestly how I decipher this too. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Microsoft's assessment. I don't know if 10 years is enough to make something that could even potentially compete with Call of Duty. I mean, you got to think Call of Duty has that name recognition. Everybody, even those who aren't people who play video games, know what Call of Duty is, right? It has that name recognition. It has that sort of rotation or groove where they're putting out a game every year or 2 years or 3 years. They have multiple development teams that are already in on it, who already know how to develop a Call of Duty game, and all they're doing is updating it and adding new content every time they come out with a new iteration. Sony has to go from the ground up. You got to get R&D, you got to find the right studios to do it, which honestly is probably going to be Bungie. I mean, that's the only studio I can think that can make a large scale first person shooter, but Bungie has made it clear that Sony is not going to tell them what to do or how to do their thing, right? So you have to get Bungie on board, or you have to find another developer that can get on board. So 10 years, I think Sony could do it. They have the money, they have the talent, they have the studios there to make a competitor. I just don't know how feasible it really is going to be though. And even if they do end up making a major first person shooter that's going to be sort of the face of their console, it's not going to hold a candle to Call of Duty's popularity. It really isn't.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see how Sony sort of responds to this. I think 10 years is a good deal to keep Call of Duty on your console. I think Sony should be working towards trying to keep Call of Duty on the console. Maybe trying to make deals with Xbox. We'll see what that could look like. Could that mean Game Pass on PlayStation? I mean, we've talked about these crazy out of the box ideas, and every time we shut them down and say this is ridiculous, but then something like that happens, and it's pretty incredible. Like Call of
Mhm.
Duty on Nintendo Switch. When could we have envisioned that? It doesn't make sense, and now we're wondering how that's going to look. So it'll be interesting to see what Sony's response is. I don't think 10 years is enough time, honestly, to get a series as big and popular as Call of Duty. But hey, maybe the CMA will buy that.
Yeah, 10 years basically gives you, you can probably develop well, two games for one studio if you spread it
Right.
out and try to rapid fire, which we know PlayStation is doing with their live service games. They said they have
Right.
10 in development for the next few years. So they are trying. I know Bungie in particular has games in development like Matter. I think one's an
Hmm.
extraction shooter, and then the other is more of a PvP focused game, like I think Overwatch type game, like an arena shooter.
Yep.
So could that be the answer to Call of Duty? I don't know. It's kind of a different player base. It's kind of a different mold than what Call of Duty is, what it gives to the gaming community at large. I don't think name recognition, it's going to take more than 10 years to build up that cachet,
Yeah.
right? Nobody's going to, whatever PlayStation puts out, even if it's great, even if it's popular, it's going to take years and years for that to build like the notoriety that Call of Duty has, the popularity, get people in. These games take a while to foster, and the player base and the community take a while to get engaged and grow to the level of something like COD. So 10 years, I'm with you. I don't really know if it's enough time. I understand from a business perspective, they're giving you 10 years because they're never going to say in perpetuity, right? Like
Right.
you're never going to get those. You can have it for 20 years. Like that's a
Yeah.
ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
Like that's so long. So I think right now, if I'm Jim Ryan, I'm calling Xbox and like we're going to sign that deal. All right. Like that's
Right.
great. We need Call of Duty to fund our development of the Call of Duty competitor. But I'm also thinking maybe I know they're saying this now, but maybe in 10 years the situation changes. Maybe Xbox will see, hey, even though the game is on Game Pass and Xbox and all this, PlayStation maybe is still the preferred platform to play on for some reason. Maybe the revenue stream over there is just so significant that they can't fathom taking it away because the 10 years didn't play out the way Xbox imagined it, right?
Right, and that's the point that I was gonna bring up, and I'm glad you said that because I look at Call of Duty predominantly as a PlayStation, platform game. More people play Call of Duty on PlayStation than any other console, and I think more than PC too. I mean, PlayStation is a huge revenue stream for the Call of Duty franchise. So not only do you have PlayStation that needs to find an alternative if Call of Duty is gonna go away from its platform, Xbox also has to figure out a way to make up that difference of when Call of Duty gets taken off of PlayStation 5. Because guess what? You're going to lose a ton of revenue once that game comes off of the PlayStation 5. So I don't know if maybe Sony needs to try and keep its players on its platform to basically leverage Xbox and say, hey, if you take it off our platform, you're losing half your revenue. So you might as well extend this deal now because it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
And how is Xbox going to move players off of PlayStation onto the Xbox ecosystem? Is it going to be Game Pass that gets them over? Is it going to be exclusive deals that get them over? It'll be interesting to see their marketing strategies and how they can sort of compete getting the players from one system to another.
It's in my mind, I because the deals promise content parity, right? So
Right.
there can't be exclusive stuff to Xbox
Oh,
because it'll
that's
go
true.
against
Yep.
the deals. So in my mind, it really comes down to Game Pass being the draw. And whether or not that pans out is a gamble from Xbox. It's a big draw for a lot of players, I think, to know like, hey, I can pay $15 and I can get all these games plus Call of Duty every year. I think that's a great incentive for a lot of people, but there is a large portion of the player base that's like, my preferred platform is PlayStation. I'm just going to keep paying the $70 that I've been paying every year. Like, it's not a big deal to them. They would rather do that than switch to an ecosystem, switch to something that maybe their friends aren't on, or they don't really like the controller or the UI or whatever reason they have not to do it. So it's a gamble. They need to account for that when they're deciding, hey, do we take the hit and lose all this money
Yeah.
and make it exclusive in the hopes that once we do, all those players will flood over to the Xbox ecosystem? It's not a guaranteed thing. So it is a risk analysis that they're going to have to do at the end of the 10 years.
Yep.
And in my mind, I say keep PlayStation in the loop, keep
Yes.
Call of Duty everywhere. For it's just how I see it. But it is interesting to read this that it might not happen. It does seem like in their minds, Call of Duty might go exclusive after 10 years.
Yeah, I think you're right. This does read like it's going to go exclusive. I hope that's not the case because at the end of the day, PlayStation is a huge revenue stream for that franchise. It's going to make the games better because you have more players in the ecosystem. You have more revenue so that you can make better games, advance the technology. And Xbox has plenty of IPs from the rest of the ABK deal that they can use to make exclusive. We've talked about that at length about all the different single player IPs that they're going to be sort of revitalizing on the Xbox that we're all going to be excited for. So hopefully it does not go exclusive. If I was Jim Bryan right now, I'd be asking for 15 years. I would be trying to get extensions. I'd be, working up to the end of the 10 years. I would be calling them saying, hey, we need to extend this because Call of Duty needs to stay everywhere.
Well, that's funny because part two of this story, the CMA have updated their provisional findings. So the CMA is now saying, ahead of its final decision next month, they've seemed to change course, narrowing their concerns, and they now say they don't believe the acquisition of Activision Blizzard would significantly lessen competition. This, I saw this break and everyone is going wild, like, oh, like they're completely approved. Like they still have concerns over cloud gaming. All right, despite
Right.
Xbox's new deals, all they're all they're now saying is, listen, we don't think competition will be lessened significantly after Xbox making these 10 years deals, which are doing having the effect that they wanted it to, right? The Nintendo deal, the Nvidia deal, the Boosteroid and Ubitus, and whatever deals they make continue to make in the next few weeks. It's having the desired effect by them being like, okay, they're making the what we wanted them to do, the concessions. They're making the concessions to put this
Right.
everywhere. And PlayStation, you need to get in line. All right. Like
Yeah.
if the CMA was a huge hurdle, and now it seems like they're going to approve the deal. That's where they're leaning towards anyway from these provisional updates. So if I'm PlayStation, I'm not putting all of my bets on the FTC because the EU apparently is leaning towards approving the deal, the
Hmm.
CMA, and then the FTC would be the last big hurdle. And they're a mess right now. And from the legal analysts I've heard talk about the deal like Hogue Law, they don't
Yeah.
really have a case. So PlayStation, I think you need to get in touch with Xbox to get this deal done.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think both the CMA and the FTC came out of the gate way too hard and fast, and they put their foot in their mouth on multiple occasions. I remember we were reading a lot of the press releases and going, "What are they talking about? These guys have no understanding of the video game industry, right?" And I think this is the culmination of what we all thought would happen. I knew that this would eventually fade away, and that Xbox would prove that this is not monopolizing the video game industry. It doesn't make any sense. I think the FTC will fall in line. I think the FTC is going to be a little more stubborn because that's just how American government works. That's just how American politics works. You don't embarrass the government because they will go after you. And I think Microsoft is willing to go after the government in this and fight for this acquisition. And I think the FTC eventually is going to have to just, keel over like the CMA has done here. So I'm excited. It's just another step forward, another step towards never having to talk about this again, and we can start
Hmm.
seeing these great IPs come out again, and we can play more video games.
Yes, there's deadlines coming up basically every month for the so we're
Yep.
gonna start getting these decisions. I think the CMA is April, the EU is May, and then
Yeah.
I believe the FTC is like June, which I think is supposed to be
Mhm.
like the closing day anyway. So next few months we should hopefully be done with this, unless the FTC really drags this out and it's like we're going to court. So
Yeah, yeah. We'll
uh,
see.
anyway, let's talk
Yeah.
about something semi related, but not
Ooh.
legally. The Microsoft App Store could be coming. So, speaking with the Financial Times, Phil Spencer says that Microsoft is preparing to launch a new app store for games on iPhones and Androids, and that the store could be up and running as soon as next year if the acquisition is cleared. Saying, "quote We want to be in a position to offer Xbox and content for both us and third-party partners across any screen where somebody would want to play. Today, we can't do that on mobile devices, but we want to build towards a world that we think will be coming where those devices are opened up." So, Ethan, you looking to have a Microsoft App Store to play Xbox games on your phone?
No. We've talked about this a couple times, I think, and I've always asked the question of what exactly is this going to look like. I've heard a lot about this app store thing. Is this just going to be for their mobile games and their mobile games that they're acquiring through King? Is this going to be a cloud-based platform where you can play all of these games on cloud? Is this going to be a system in which you just buy your games and you can download on your console, which already exists with the current Xbox app? So I'm not really sure if they're just separating the main Xbox app with like their cloud gaming capabilities, and you're just going to have two separate apps that you go to, which doesn't quite make sense to me. I think you should just have everything in one for convenience sake. But all I know is that this is definitely going to open up a can of worms, especially with Google Play and Apple Store. I think we've seen clearly that they will go after anyone with litigation that wants to try and sell things through apps, where Apple or Google Play can't get a cut. Right. And they went over after Epic Games, Kindle Store. You can't even buy books on your Kindle app anymore on anything because
Doesn't make any sense to me.
it doesn't make any sense. You have to go to your web browser, buy the book, and then like stuff like that. It's really frustrating. So to come out and say boldly, we're going to put an app store on your phones and not mention that, you're going to have to go through Google Play or Apple Store, that's obviously going to upset those companies. And we'll see how that plays out. I guarantee we're going to have to go through more court fights with this. And I don't know anything about this realm. I really don't care about
Mhm.
the mobile gaming realm. I don't know if they might win or not. I pay attention to Hogue Law and all these legal experts that are going to be talking about it, because guarantee you coming down the line, we're going to be talking about it. It's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
it seems they're placing their bets on the iPhone and Android market really opening up, allowing
Right.
for more marketplaces that isn't the Google Play Store, that isn't the App Store on your iPhone, right? They are like, hey, we're gonna have our own little thing you can download and buy games and buy all this separate stuff that Apple won't be have any say in. And I'm like, these are lofty ambitions,
Tell that to
first of
Apple.
all. Listen. They are making headway in the mobile space. Mighty Doom. I don't know if you've seen this going. They just released a Doom game for phones, and it's doing
Oh,
really well. Apparently, it's a really
cool.
good mobile game, and they're having some success there. So if the acquisition closes, and then they get the King branch with Candy Crush, I assume they're going to put more development resources into the mobile space, and that's really where they're hedging their bets on this. I can guarantee you they're going to be filled with microtransactions and stuff that I
Oh,
won't
yeah.
enjoy. But
Yeah.
apparently, I'm always surprised how big mobile gaming is. Okay, all right. Genshin Impact. All right, my note well, Kyle, my brother, started as a mobile game, makes tons of money. All right, maybe
Yep.
Xbox starts coming out with these gotcha games. Okay, they'll be raking
People are
in the
playing
dough.
Fortnite on mobile. I mean,
That's
there's so
crazy
many
to
games.
me.
There's so many games that can come. PUBG is huge on mobile. I mean, there's
That
lots of
is
different
true.
types of games that can come to mobile. It's crazy.
Yeah, phones, phone. Don't you have
They're
phones?
getting better.
I
I just
I
got the
have an
brand new S23 Ultra, Kevin, and I'm
uh,
excited to get that in the mail. It's coming next week.
what iPhone is that? I don't.
Oh God, here we go.
Uh,
Don't even start with me. I
um,
actually know technology, so I have an Android, Kevin. Sorry.
listen, I have an 8S.
Oh yeah, you got an old one. I can't
So
even say that.
I'm about 6 models behind on the iPhone.
Yeah,
Listen,
I'm
okay.
about 6 miles behind on the Android.
I
So
just don't do
we're both
phones.
cheap. We like to spend our money on video games. We all have
That's
the
right.
latest consoles, so we can't say nothing.
Listen, all those Cold Steel games, okay? I could have
Yeah,
put that towards a phone, but I didn't.
exactly.
Oh, good luck to Xbox at the mobile store. But let's talk
Yep.
about something more fun. Like, is SMT coming to Xbox Game Pass? In recent months, we've seen Xbox continue its excellent relationship with Sega owned studio Atlas, known for Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Atlas and Xbox have added the following to Game Pass in recent months: Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal, along with Soul Hackers 2 recently coming. According to a new rumor, the Shin Megami Tensei series could also be following suit. Rumors on Reddit and 4chan imply that Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, what a title, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 could be joining the series. And an announcement is apparently supposed to take place in May during the 30th anniversary celebration. Say Shin Megami Tensei 18 times and tell me you don't slip up, okay?
I was thinking about that while you were rattling off those names there. But in all seriousness, this is really exciting. I've never played any of the Shin Megami Tensei games, and I've always wanted to kind of dive into. I remember when Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out, and I got a little excited about it. But I think there was another game coming out at the time that I wanted to play instead. So it's just good to see Xbox continuing that way forward of chipping away and getting more JRPGs onto the platform, especially Game Pass. I think that's the key there is you've got to get a lot of these games on Game Pass, and that will help you expand in the Japanese market as well. Because I mean, it's just a great value. We've seen the Series S is selling like hotcakes over there. People are loving it to use it as a Game Pass machine. And I think putting these games on there are just going to make it more popular for everyone. And I know there's plenty of fans out there like you who love your JRPGs, and seeing this is just really exciting. You can play all 5 of these games for free without having to download them all and all and pay for them. And this is pretty great. So good to see. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to jump into them and play a little bit. We'll see. And I'm hoping that we just see more of this throughout the rest of the year.
Ethan,
Yeah.
do you know that you know Persona is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, right?
I knew they were related somehow. I
Okay.
thought it was the other way around though. I thought Shin
No.
Megami Tensei was a spinoff of
No.
Persona.
Persona is the spin-off of
Isn't
Shin Megami
Persona the more
Tensei.
popular one though?
I'm
I
yeah,
hear that
I
more.
want to say yes, but I don't actually know in terms of sales. So it's funny
Hmm.
because Persona 1 and 2 actually have the Shin Megami Tensei like name in the title.
Oh,
Um and what's funny is Shin Megami Tensei are incredibly hard games.
they're hard?
They are the Dark Souls of JRPGs.
Really?
Yes, they are brutally difficult.
That
Um,
sounds cool.
and that is why I like Persona more because you get social elements, you get like bonding,
Yep.
and it's not ridiculously hard. These games are brutally difficult. um, I will not be playing these. It would be awesome for the service, awesome for people that like these types of games. This is not for me. Okay, this is not the spinoff I'm looking. I like like Soul Hackers 2 is also a spinoff. So the Soul
Yep.
Hacker series, they all have the same like demon like sort of thing going on. But I can't be bothered to play a game that's hard. All right. I played Bloodborne this year
hard.
for 6 hours. Okay. I can't do it.
Hey, you know I'm a fan of my Souls like, so maybe I'll jump into this. Well,
Yeah.
Why'd you break on me? Makes
It's
me so
turn
upset.
based, Ethan. So I mean,
Oh, it's turn-based and Souls like. How does that? That's scary.
I know
I'm
you're
gonna
getting
play
a
it for
little
an
more
hour
into
and hate it.
the turn based these days
Yeah,
with
this might
the
be a
One
little too
Piece
much for
Odyssey,
me.
but yes, these keep the turn based combat. It's just they make it really hard.
See, One Piece Odyssey, I could fast forward and just gum gatling everything. All right, I was
Oh,
having a
so
great
good.
time. It was so fun. Go check out a review
The
for it.
Trails games have turbo mode. All right. When you Google how long to beat,
Ooh,
it says 60 hours. I'm about to roll credits in like the 20-ish range. All right.
yeah.
So it ain't
Game
60.
developers, turbo mode.
Turbo mode for turn-based JRPGs is where it's at. Okay.
Exactly.
Give us turbo mode of these. It won't help you, but you'll die quicker and then you can get back
You
into it.
can get back
Okay.
into it, die again. Perfect.
Cool rumor for those interested, but we do have
Yeah.
the actual Game Pass update. So available right now, you can play Nino Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, the Prince's Edition for Cloud Console PC. On March 28th, you get MLB The Show 23 for Cloud Console. On March 30th, you get Infinite Guitars for Cloud Console and PC. And that is all you get for the
Mm.
second half of this month. I assume they stopped it there because they wanted to get back to that every 2 weeks thing instead of going
Yeah,
into it.
maybe.
It was an awkward time frame they had, but
Also, I
anything
will
there
make
pique
the
your interest.
argument that these are some pretty big games. I'm not sure about Infinite Guitars. I'm not sure what that is, but I played a little bit in Nino Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch when that
Hmm.
first got dropped. I think it was like Shadow dropped during the Tokyo Game Show, if I remember correctly. Go check out our
Yeah.
live react for that. That was fun. So I know that's a very large JRPG. I played probably 4 hours of it. I was enjoying it, but just timing was bad. I didn't have the time to sink 45 hours into a JRPG. So cool to get that big game. MLB The Show 23, you know me. That's my only sports game that I play. So I am really, really excited for this. I am going to be talking about it probably next week if I'm on. Or no, you said you have a guest the week
Yes.
after. Whenever I'm on next, I will talk about it because I'm definitely going to be getting it. I'm going to be playing a lot of it. It's going to be a really great time. I already played a little bit of the beta. I have some things I don't like about it. I think it's kind of a step back, but we'll see once the full version gets released. So that's a pretty big game for Game Pass. More MLB The Show. That's always fun. So I'm excited.
For anyone curious, Infinite Guitars is a rhythm RPG where players must dodge through rhythm based attacks and retaliate with electrifying guitar solos.
Hey, I like the rhythm guitar game we played earlier this year, except you got to bash people over the head with the guitar. So I don't know if this is the same.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm seeing some things here. There's nothing for me in this Game Pass drop, okay? And even if there
Yeah,
was, I'm in a committed relationship with Trails to Cold Steel,
exactly.
okay?
Yeah.
I don't have time for anything else. But no, there's nothing here that piques my interest. I heard Nino Kuni 2 is really good.
Yeah.
Um, MLB The Show obviously is huge every single year for those that play the sports
Mhm.
game. I remember I played about an hour of the 21 and then never went back. So
Mm.
that's where I'm at. Baseball is just puts me to sleep. That's
Yeah,
where
I
I'm
know.
at.
It puts most people to sleep.
Little
I'm a
nap
psychopath.
time.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan. Our final news story for the week. Crash Team Rumble has new
Yes.
information and a release date. Let's go, everyone.
I'm so
Activision
excited.
has confirmed that Crash Team Rumble will release on June 20th. A closed beta will be available for those that pre order the game on April 20th through the 24th. The game will cost $30 for the standard edition, and a $40 deluxe edition will also be available. Standard edition will include the game, beta access, and a premium battle pass for season 1. Deluxe edition will give you all of the above, a premium battle pass for season 2, a 25 instant tier unlock for season 1, and a digital proto pack with skins and items. We've also learned a bit more about the game, including a gameplay trailer, so check that out if you haven't seen it. The roster will have heroes and villains split into 3 roles that include blocker, booster, or scorer. Players work together to bank the most Wumpa fruit. Each character will have their own unique relic powers, and it will include cross platform play. So, Ethan, you how you feeling about Crash Team Rumble?
Dude, I'm actually really excited for this. I watched that gameplay trailer. I got really hyped. Honestly, I love this price point. $30 for standard edition, $40 for deluxe edition. I think they're very, very generous packages. I'm definitely going to be getting the deluxe edition if that means I'm getting this battle pass and a bunch of premium items and everything. I think this is going to be a fun game to jump into. I loved Crash 4. I played the living hell out of that game. I did a lot of the challenges. I went back, did speed runs, did a bunch of stuff. I don't usually do that with games, but this game I really, really loved. And I know this is just in the style of Crash 4. It has the same platform and mechanics. It's just an arena battler type thing. So I'm really excited to jump into this. I'm hoping to get some games in with you guys. The beta you said was April 20th to the 24th. So I am actually graduating the 21st. So I will be back and I'll have that weekend off. So we'll definitely be jumping into the beta. That's if you guys are going to all pre-order it. I'm definitely going to pre-order it so I can do that. It's going to be a really good weekend.
Ethan, as the resident Crash fanatic,
Yes, sir.
I've already pre-ordered the game.
Of course you I figured. I just wanted to confirm with you.
I didn't even look at the gameplay trailer. I saw release date. I saw pre-order. I go $30. Buy now.
Oh, you didn't even get the deluxe?
No, I didn't get the deluxe.
It's $40, Kevin.
Yeah, but also
point.
like, what if it's not good? What if it's like one of those like you play for like
I
a
don't
few,
want to think like that.
you know, what if you play for a few weeks and then you don't even get to
I mean,
season
it is
2?
going to be like the game you play for. Yeah, there's no chance I'm playing this game in the next year, Kevin.
What if it hits, bro? All right, listen. Some previews came out. Ty Guy Travis over at IGN said this is gonna be a sleeper hit. I tweeted, okay, I was really excited for this. Like I love Crash Bandicoot 4v4 multiplayer game. I did look at the gameplay afterwards, and I think like this could be a lot of fun, like strategizing, blocker, scorer, those kind of roles, playing as your favorite Crash characters. Like I just love the whole universe. I think this could be a blast with some friends, and you can have private matches too. So if you have enough friends, you could just have some fun going on there. I was excited and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go over to the old reddit.com and share my excitement with the fellow Crash Bandicoot fans. And what did I find on the Crash Bandicoot subreddit? But everyone telling me that this game is a hot pile of garbage.
What?
And if you're excited for it, you're an idiot. And that this should be a free to play game, that this looks like just constant negativity.
Just miserable.
Miserable human being. I was like, I thought Crash Bandicoot was supposed to be like fun, silly platforming. And now I go over here and you guys are all taking this way too like ridiculous.
Kevin, I'm going to give you some insight. All right. Every time you start a story with, I went to Reddit, it always ends poorly. Every time, specifically you. I don't know, but I have some pretty good interactions on Reddit. You, on the other hand, seem to always get the shit end of the stick. It never ends well for you. But in reality, I think this game is going to be fun. The main thing, though, is are they going to have the content? Right? What is the content flow going to be like? What is that battle pass or season pass going to be like? Are they going to give us new maps? Are we going to get new characters? Are we going to get cool skins? Are we going to get new game modes? That is the true measure of a good live service game. Obviously, we beat a dead horse with this. Halo Infinite had that problem. If this game comes out and we don't get new content for a month, then yeah, people are just going to drop off and there's not going to be enough of a player base. This sort of game, I feel like already has a niche enough market that the player base isn't going to be like massive like Halo Infinite was when it first comes out. So you got to really hook as many of those players as you can so that they don't leave the service, because eventually it's going to get to a point where we just don't have enough people to make it worth it.
And that's funny you bring that up, because one of my concerns is that the game won't have enough players, because I know $30 I think is a good price point for this
Great
game.
price. Yeah.
I think it's a great price point. The problem is June 20th. Okay, you have Diablo 4 coming out the start of June. You have Final Fantasy 16, I think, comes out 2 days after this. And listen, I don't know how much crossover there is between those games and the Crash community, but say you are like, okay, I can buy 1, maybe 2 video games this month. Are you picking up Diablo 4 and Final Fantasy 16, or are you picking up Crash Team Rumble? All right. Like, the mainstream is probably not going to, like, if they have a choice, they're not going to choose this game. And that will make me worried for it. So that in that sense, I understand people being like, maybe it should have been free to play. Just get those people downloaded and get the numbers in.
Or a DLC for Crash 4. I mean, I feel like that could have easily been a thing.
I would have paid $30 for this.
I feel like a lot of people might. It would have been fun.
For DLC on Crash 4.
Yeah.
My other so that's my concern around the release date is just that it might get overshadowed, even if it's good. Even if it's good, like the previews are saying, just
Right.
the amount of bandwidth people have, they might not be able to hop into this. Like me, I'm gonna play Diablo 4, but I'm also gonna play the crap out of this, and
Yep.
then I'll play Final Fantasy 6. I'm excited for Final Fantasy 16, but I'm also not like maybe I'll just play Crash T Rumble
I'm
for
not breaking down a wall to get to it. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah. Um, after the acquisition goes through, though, get this into Game Pass as soon as possible, is my recommendation.
yes,
Get that
absolutely.
player base numbers up, especially if it's doing well, then there's no rush.
Right.
But if the numbers are low, if it's not blowing up out the gate like people want, Game Pass will revitalize the player base at least for a bit. And then if the game's good, you'll have a sustained player base. All right. Like the market will correct us. If your game is bad, then nobody's going to stick around regardless.
Right.
Like it's just how it's going to work.
Going back to your point about even if the game is good, if there's not enough players, there's not enough players, and you're not going to keep the service. I think we've seen a lot of that, especially in the last couple of years with live service games. For example, Knockout City last year was a game that I downloaded off of. It was on Game Pass. I played it for a few days, and I had a really, really good
Me
time. It
too.
was a very fun multiplayer game, really cool concept, really fun dodgeball mechanic. I had a great time. Unfortunately, it just didn't have the player base. And there was too many people wrapped up in other games because I mean, there's too many other massive live service games out there that are commanding all of your time. WrestleQuest is another big live service battle royale game that recently had to go under, even though it had really good press, really
You
good
mean
reviews.
Rumbleverse?
Rumbleverse, yeah, Rumbleverse, not
WrestleQuest is a
WrestleQuest.
turn-based wrestling
Yes, it is.
RPG
You're
that's
right.
coming out this year.
I mixed those two up. Rumbleverse. For everything I heard about Rumbleverse was really, really fun. A lot of big press folks in the industry were loving it. Good reviews. Unfortunately, again, just didn't capture enough people. And I don't think it's because it was a bad game. It wasn't because they didn't have the content. It was just there's too many games out there right now, and it's very hard to sort of make yourself known, right? And hopefully Crash has that name recognition enough that it can maintain a stable player base so that it can continue on for a couple of years.
Yeah. Listen, I'm hopeful for that. Okay. And the game just needs to be good. I'll find my character that I like to
Yeah.
play. I have no problems. And it's I want to say like because I'm gonna be wrapped up in Diablo 4. There's no doubt. The beta, all these
It's gonna be
previews
crazy,
is
yeah.
great. But like I will play this game. I will give it a fair shot. And if I only put like 10 hours in, it's $30. Like I'm gonna get
Right.
my money's worth
Good price point,
regardless of
yep.
how long I play it. But I'm hoping that this will be the live service game that I can finally stick with because it's like Fall Guys and
Fall
that's
Guys,
it.
yeah. I was
Fall
about to say Fall Guys is perfect.
Funny story. I was at Kyle's house the other day, my brother, for any new listeners, and he had just had surgery, so he couldn't really play games. But I played Fall Guys like on his account,
Yep.
and he was like, "Go win me a crown." First game. I haven't played this game in months.
Bastard.
Got the crown. I was like, "This game's easy."
It's always like your first game back. When I tell you my first 3 games of Fortnite ever in my life were victory royales, I'm not kidding. It was great. And then I
Yeah,
haven't won one since. Can't do it. Can't
just
repeat.
Fall Guys master over here. But good luck to
Yep.
Crash Team Rumble. I'm excited for it, and everybody just be a little more positive about games.
Yeah.
You know,
Just be
they're fun.
positive. If they
They're
suck,
fun.
they suck. Get your refund. Leave it alone. Jeez.
Get your refund. Steam
You've
refund.
never gone to a movie theater and walking out and been like, damn, that sucked, but the popcorn was good.
Halloween ends. I said that. I didn't have
Yeah.
popcorn. I will say, like I said, there's a beta. So if you pre-order, try the beta. Don't like it, just cancel your pre-order.
Exactly. Perfect.
Problem
There you
solved.
go.
Ethan, that's actually all we have this week. A
Yes,
little of
sir.
a shorter show, but I was glad to spend some time with you. You're over away at the
Yeah.
academy.
It was very fun.
Yeah. Anyway, where can people find you in the meantime?
On the Discord, I'm not talking as much now, but every weekend I usually hop on, or once a day I'll hop on. So it'll be a good time.
We have pictures of our cute cats over at the Discord.
Yes.
So if you want to come,
Your
revel
cats are
in that.
fat, by the way. Your cats are tubby
How
and fluffy.
dare you?
I'm just calling it how it
da-
is. They're
The
cute.
one is a little chunky, but the other one is not fat.
They look like walking bread loafs, Kevin.
Dog.
I love your cats. I'm just
Yo,
talking.
we feed them half a cup of food a day. They don't even get that much food.
They're just
Okay.
stoner cats. Whenever you leave for work, they're just token
They
it up.
do
It's a
love
good time.
catnip. We'll put the catnip in there. Like,
Ooh, there you go.
Anyway, you can find me at the Muffin Mon on Twitter. It's a 17IO07A. Yeah. Wow. I messed it up.
Whoa.
128 episodes. I finally
I
messed it
even
up.
give you the hand cues for what it is.
Yep.
Come on.
You can follow us at Save Game Media over on Twitter to stay up to date with all of our latest. But we're going to hop on out of here. Until next week. See ya.